April 6th, 2021, meeting of the Bryan Board of Public Affairs. First item on the agenda this evening is approve the minutes of the March 16th, 2021 regular meeting. All been presented with the minutes, had a chance to read them. If there's any additions or corrections, please let us know.
Seeing none, Tom, no additions or corrections, I move that we accept the March 16th minutes.
This is Annette. I second it.
Dick?
Yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Next is a hearing of public concerns. We'll give everyone a few seconds to want to call in. If we don't hear from somebody soon, we will go on, and if we get a call, we will interrupt and take that call. Next item on the agenda is a discussion of automatic metering infrastructure, commonly called AMI. This is something that we've been talking about or talked about several years ago, and we've had the information on it for some time, and it seems like now may be a good time to move forward with this, and Nate's going to lead the discussion on the AMI. Nate?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I just had some recent news here, and I just kind of wanted to give a little background on some of the information and where we were and where we're at now. So as most of you are aware, a lot of you have sat through this for years and years. I mean, all the way back to Steve Casebear when he was the director of utilities in 2009. Steve was looking at Johnson Controls at the time. Nothing ever got done with that, but that's when the discussion, in my recollection, kind of began. Then Bryan Carlin came along, and I think in 2016 we were looking at something that AMP had out there, and we kind of looked at that and talked about it. And then Bryan left, and we kind of held the ball for a while, and we never proceeded with that. Then Kevin Maynard came along in 2019. I think we started looking at doing an AMI feasibility study with Value Tech Solutions. I think that was back in 2017. Then in like 2018, Value Tech basically provided us with a vendor selection process where we did a request for a proposal, and we finally, I think it was 2019, the board authorized us to put that out there. And I think in June 14, 2019, we received proposals back. And then in August of 2019, our team got together, went through a vendor selection process, sent all these people in, and evaluated each vendor and each system. And through that process, we finally agreed on Eaton. And of course, in 2019, we lost the director. And in November, I think our operations manager tried to move forward with it. And we ended up postponing the BPA presentation that we had prepared for the selection of Eaton. Then in January 21st, 2020, Ed Finnemore came down from Value Tech and presented the board basically with an overview of the AMI. At the end of that meeting, the board directed us to move forward with finalizing the contract with Eaton for the AMI infrastructure project. That's where we left off. Then, of course, I'm sure you all know, March 2020, the Governor of Ohio declares a state of emergency, just when you think we were going to get something done after all this time. Stay-at-home orders. Then I became the director, I think it was in August. And basically because of the budget, we cut everything. It fell through. We were that close to the finish line, and it kind of fell through as far as with COVID and cutting budgets and everything else. It just got pushed by the wayside. Well, during that, so for 4 years, basically, if you look back at it, we've been working toward this current AMI project. Eaton had reached out to me many times on weekends and everything else, knowing that they were they were the finalist, and we were, basically working through an agreement. And they kept coming back and saying, hey, what can we do? They were trying to think outside the box. What can we do to get this to happen? And I kept saying to them, you know what, we're just in hard times. We didn't budget for anything. We cut back so hard that we don't really have a chance to get this through right now. And I apologize. Well, we stayed in talks. He called again, and he made a couple offers that was like, wow, that sounds really interesting. You people are working outside the box to try to make this happen. It was kind of surprising to me. So he's from New York, and he happened to be in Indianapolis, and he asked if he could stop by and talk. And at that time, we were just, socially distanced, had a conversation with him, stopped in, and he made a way to assist us in our pursuit of AMI. He presented a deal that I didn't believe it's too hard to pass up. He kind of proposed a tax-exempt lease purchase with a 2-year deferred on the payment. Basically, we could get the stuff and put it in and defer our payments for 2 years. That means, if we get it in a year, we're getting the goodie, back from it without making payments on it for that year and getting some of the payback from it. So I brought this back to the team, and they were all very excited. Believe me, like I said, our team was so excited to even get this conversation started again. Because to be honest with you, we've kicked this can down the road so long that, we're just at the point that something needs to be done. And I'm going to kind of talk about some of those things just to let you know. One of the things, though, that the team brought together, I think I'll stay with this, is that Ed Finnemore from ValueTech has since retired. I tried to reach out to him, and so he is now retired. But our team got together and thought, what if we could do that, that'd be great. And we can also save more money by taking the installation costs out of it. We could save almost $500,000 by having our crews, install these. So we talked about timeframes and what we thought we could do. And instead of this initial 3-year project, we are looking at like less than a 1-year project and trying to be realistic. And so they're going back and looking at their work schedule, what they can do and how they can fit this in there. Because of course, we've talked before that we want our crews to do more to save money. And so they're already doing that, but how can you squeeze this time in and still be able to accomplish that? So they worked on it and thought about it. And before we came to you, I wanted to get all these things together to make sure that this was even possible to present. So they're all excited about it. They think that they can put these meters in. They think that, they can get them in there in 6 months instead of a 3-year period. And then, at that time, we can, hopefully start getting a payback before we even make our first payment. So that being said, I just kind of wanted to get into a few points that I have as far as, we had all these ambitions, so it would do this and it would do that. But to be honest with you, we haven't been able to purchase meters for years. Like I said, I could almost go back to 2019. What meter are we going to use? And if we're going to buy a bunch of them, are they going to be compatible with this AMI system that we choose? So we've been hesitant to even buy meters for that reason alone. So we have a lot of meters out there that are failing because we haven't replaced them. We didn't know what to replace them with. Don't get me wrong, we've replaced some. Ones that failed, of course, we put some in, but not knowing, buying bulk and going back to our meter replacement program that we should be doing. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. And some of you are aware, we lost one of our meter readers last year. So then we ended up hiring, now we have we have a meter reader laborer, I guess, more to define their classification, but we also had 2 part-time meter readers that actually were retired, came back, and are actually helping us read meters to get through these times. So I guess my point is that we're at a point that if we don't make a decision soon, we're probably going to have to go out and hire at least 2, full-time meter readers to continue on. To bring up another point, the meter readers have been for years running on hand-me-down vehicles. Like everybody else gets a new vehicle and they'll get the oldest one out there. And at this point right now, we've passed them down. And instead of purchasing a new vehicle for this, they're actually driving, my old vehicle that I had that was our, so they're actually using my old vehicles to go around and read meters right now. That's where we're at. Another point, I guess our datamatic system that we had, it was old, it was failing, there was no current support for it. We recently updated our handhelds, but basically it was a Band-Aid, right now to get us by. And it has, but it's not a permanent solution to our problem. It's just a Band-Aid. So, all of those things. Another point I guess I would make is everybody around Bryan, surrounding this whole community, we are one of the few, if not the only people that do not have some form of AMI. I mean, you can look around Montpelier, Edgerton, Stryker. I mean, all of these communities have some form of AMI system, and we don't. We are so forward thinking. We have solar, we have, an all glaze power, all these things that we have. This has eluded us, to get us to that level. So I guess I reached out to a few communities, and there's a few of the communities around here that actually are going with Eaton, and they are finishing up. And I reached out to them to verify that they were happy with the product and things were going smoothly. So I mean, I guess what I'm asking now is basically for the board support to finish what we started in the direction from January 21st meeting of 2020, and continue working with Eaton to finalize this project. And I'm, hoping that, by the board's approval, we could get something, going as soon as possible with it and moving forward and try to get this thing done. But I would want to run by that kind of a recap of where we came from and where we are. And I want to open it up to the board to feel free. I wanted to get this stuff together. I didn't want to, come up here and just say that, don't know all the details, which I still don't, but I think that, I've seen the agreements, I've seen some of this stuff, and, we'll present it to, our city attorney, our clerk treasurer will all have their chance to look through these things and comment and look at it. Initially, when I found this out, I reached out to Rhonda and went up and physically talked to her before the board even knew, or before just talking forward. I went up and talked to Lori. Just to talk to those people, to keep them involved, just to kind of know where we were. And I want to keep everybody involved, because if we choose to move forward, is it going to be an inconvenience? Yes, it probably will be for a while. But I think the end result will be well worth, the sacrifice that we do for this 6 month. And we keep talking about ripping off a Band-Aid. That's what needs to happen, is to push through and get this in for the betterment of the whole community. I could go through lists and lists of reasons of why we need AMI, but I know you've all heard it. Some of you have been here long enough that you've heard it, since probably even, all the way back from Steve Casebeer when we started this stuff. Most of you are aware of, when we, how far we've come and how close we've been so many times. So with that, I'll stop my chatter and I will open it up to the board if they would like to discuss things and ask any questions. I'd be glad to answer what I can, and what I can't, I will for sure get back with you on those details.
Nate, I'll start it off. May want to explain a little bit more how the meter reading or the meter at our house or in our yard, how that information is gathered and comes back to the utility or to the clerk's office, by what path?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point, Tom. And we looked at many different ways of doing this. Each vendor had their own way of doing things, as far as like sticking antennas on water towers and doing different things. To take advantage of the system that we had, we felt Eaton was a pretty good match, because we have communication and a fiber optic system that surround our town. So what these meters will do, the electric meters will physically speak to an electric meter. If it can't reach that one, it'll go to another one that will then go to these data collectors. There's about 9 of them that'll be scattered throughout our community. They'll get at that data collector and they will be transmitted by our fiber communication system back to our head end. And from that head end, we should be able to, we're going to have our own little servers there, house this information, and we can get it up to the clerk's office in hopefully the same manner as they get it now. They call it a flat file. Flat file is a very simplistic file that should easily integrate. And that was one of the hurdles that we had. We wanted to integrate into SSI and the eGov system that we currently have. And, those were all things that that got us to Eaton was their, basically knowing these things that we wanted. We wanted to give it to them so it's not a big inconvenience, and it merges seamlessly to what they're doing now. They said they can do that, and I feel confident. I spoke with Montpelier because they have a similar system, although their software is a little bit newer. But that's basically how it's done. It's a flat file is kind of like a CSV file, Excel file that is very limited, with just data, and then it's like inserted into their billing system. And it should be, like I said, and I know that it's not going to be seamless, and we are going to have hiccups. But I'm fairly confident that we, did our due diligence in selecting them to give our best. And they're going to walk us through this. They're going to have people here to walk us through. They're going to check what we did and put in the field and how it got up there and make sure it matches before we get into some mass bulk updating. So I feel pretty confident. But in a nutshell, Tom, that's kind of how it gets there, from the water meter to the electric meter to these nodes throughout the community. And I think there's 9 of them, and then transported by fiber back to our head end, then up to the clerk's office to their billing system.
Thank you.
Nate, do we know that the meters and anything else that might be required for the installation of this, do we know that they're available and we can get them in a timely manner? The reason I asked is because there's things out there now that, 2-3 years ago were readily available, but you got there now, and for some unknown reason, they're in short supply. Do we know that the meters are out there that we can get them?
That's a good question, Jim. You're absolutely right. I don't care what it is you want. It seems like that everything is hard to get. It seems like for the pandemic we went through, it seems like there's people buying everything. But there was also a lot of manufacturing that was shut down, and these, warehouses that used to be full are now, emptying out, and now people are back to work and they're processing this. The understanding that I have with Eaton is, this question was asked by the group, that it could be, if we ordered a meter today, we might not see it in 4 to 6 months, which might not be a bad thing for our timing, because we have a plan for this. But that would be a good timing, that if we started getting meters in the fall, we could work throughout the winter when our crews are slow and be able to get these things in. So the timing might be better suited for us anyway. But you're absolutely right. If we ordered them today, it could be 4 to 6 months before we saw them.
Okay, thank you.
Nate, how many meters are we talking for electric and water?
For the electric meters, we're talking approximately 6,100 meters. And for the water department, I think there's around 4,000 meters. And our teams basically selected the Itron for the electric meters, and the Itron Centurion and the Sentinel meters. It's a meter that they're comfortable with, that they have, and we've had meters in our system for years and years, and so they're comfortable with that manufacturer. The water department selected a Badger meter. It's like a Badger meter that we've not used, but we've had some in our system. We found one downtown from early 1900s. So Badger has been around for a long time. So they're manufacturers that are trusted and have a long, history of their manufacturing.
So the water meters, the water meters will be battery operated, correct? They'll have their own internal battery.
Correct.
And the
Yes,
lifespan on the battery is approximately how long?
What they're saying is 20 years, which is amazing. So 20-year is what we've been talking about, as far as they've been throwing around for us, which is, a long time. I was impressed and kind of taken back by that.
What do you think the life expectancy of these meters would be? I mean, if we're investing this amount of money, how long will they last?
Well, that's a good question. We have some meters out there that have lasted 50 years. I mean, but to be honest with you, I know that they're guaranteed, just like I said, and warranted for the battery on over 20 years on some of them. So as far as that goes, I think they're warranted, but after that warranty, and so let's say we take out a 10-year loan for this, or a lease for this, and if they're around for 20 years, I mean, we still have 10 years left, and that of the meter for sure. That probably longer, to be honest with you. And one thing about the new water meters, there's no moving parts in them. It's like an E-series, like a Venturi 2. There's no parts to wear out. So the meter itself will not wear out because there's no moving parts in it. It reads the meter in that sense. So that's something in it. So it won't get less over time. And what it also does is it picks up that low flow sometimes that a mechanical meter doesn't. So those are all good things as far as, getting, as time goes on, they're not getting slower and slower over 20 years where they stop. They're going to be just as accurate in 20 years as they are the day we put them in, as far as the water meters are concerned. The electric probably be similar.
Nate, it was my understanding in a conversation a couple of years ago, when I was involved in it with Eaton, the meter itself just never wears out. I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a module in there that may go bad, over time. And I guess you just pop that out and put a new module in and keep on going.
Yeah, that I'm not sure about, Dick, to be honest with you. Some of those details have kind of left me. I mean, I kind of left that alone for a while and haven't dug back into each one of the modules and stuff like that. I know that it's Eaton specific module that's in there that helps talk, and there's an automatic disconnect in there.
Yes.
That's built into the meter, but that module that's in there is what talks to Eaton's system, which talks to our water meters, and it's their little reader that talks to each other. So that's specific to Eaton. I think is the only modules that I'm aware of that talk to each other. So it helps each meter talk to each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you say, I got involved with AMI way back when Bryan Carlin was here, and was going back and forth to AMP. I was in a lot of conversations. Like you said, we've been kicking this can down the road so long, it don't even make any noise anymore. But actually, I'm glad we didn't move on it before, because the technology was fairly new and a lot of people were indulging in the market, and nobody had any data on what was good, what was bad. And so I've kind of done my homework. Eaton is kind of the outstanding AMI vendor. I mean, everybody seems to be going with Eaton. And under the circumstances, I think my way of thinking is, we're back last year, 2020, the financial uncertainty of going into 2021, we didn't have a clue what was going to happen. So we kind of took a financially proactive stance and said, let's just hold off and see what happens. But I think this first quarter, I think we are in better shape than we anticipated being in. And of course, with the offer that Eaton had offered us, what a fantastic timing. I mean, it's an opportunity, a golden opportunity, I think, because we got to have it. I mean, it's just, I wish we'd have had it in 2020, during COVID, but it would have been a blessing to be able to track data real time.
Yeah.
That could have made decisions a lot easier than they were. Of course, Dawn did an excellent job taking care of that. But I just think it's a great idea. That's just my opinion.
It's reassuring that they want to work with us like they do. And then I also believe that enough utilities around that are using their system, that if there was issues with it, we'd have heard by now. A year ago we had to postpone it because we were so close.
Oh yeah.
Had to postpone it, and we do need the system. And I don't think we'll find a place in time where it'll be more advantageous for us to jump on this than what it is.
Any other conversation from anybody?
I'll just chime in that I'm behind I support this purchase wholeheartedly. It has been a long time coming. Also being involved in it back many years. I like the features of the system. the accuracy. We'll be billing more accurately moving forward with this. We'll know what our costs are. The customers will know that they're getting billed accurately all through the whole year, not just estimated during certain winter months. You know, it'll be accurate. So there's more features to it. So I am very supportive of this system. Just to chime in. Thank you, Tom.
Do we need a
I
motion?
just like that. I think I just wanted to ask Rhonda a quick question. That it sounds like we
Okay,
have
sorry.
support. Is it all right that you know, since this was just a conversation and trying to pick up from the direction that we had on our January 21st, 2020 meeting to basically continue working with Eaton to finalize the project, is it, you think it's acceptable just to have this conversation and move forward from that point? And then bring back, once we have an agreement, and bring all that stuff back to the board and to make those final decisions, but just moving on with the last directive that we had from the board. Is that acceptable?
Perfect.
Okay.
So we don't need a motion to,
Not at this moment.
I don't think so. I think we're just looking for support to move forward with that contract and bring it back to you for a resolution.
okay, thank you.
You have my support.
Thank you.
You got mine.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So Nate, let's move forward and as fast as we can and get something back before the board.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is a request to reclassify a communications department employee. Jackie?
Yes, good evening, everyone. At this time, we would like to respectfully request that we reclassify Chris Bryce from videographer to probationary status, local programming and production lead. KB has worked for BMU as a videographer since 2015, starting out part-time until he went full-time in 2018. During that time, he's grown his skills, both on-the-job experience and schooling. He has an associate's degree in arts as well as a bachelor's degree in film. And the move from videographer to local programming and production lead is a natural progression for the position that he currently holds. And in addition, KB has an excellent attitude and work ethic and well respected by all members of our team.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to reclassify Chris Bryce?
I'll make a motion.
Before-
Go ahead, Dick.
Oh, okay. In fact, can I make a comment before we
Sure.
make a motion? I don't think there's anyone that's more deserving than KB. I mean, he mentored under the previous lead, and I think he's fully capable of doing the job, and I want to see him stay here for the rest of his life. So with that, Jim, I'll make a motion that we reclassify Christopher, production lead.
Well, I agree with everything you said, Dick, so I'll second the motion.
Dick,
Yes, ma'am.
Jim,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Annette.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is a request to accept the retirement of an electric department employee. Jackie?
Yes, we have received notice from Lonnie Wheeler, who is our warehouse employee, that he will be retiring as of April 30th of this year. He will be leaving us after 10 years of service. He's well known around here for taking the extra step in making sure his tasks are completed to everybody's happiness, and which is sometimes hard to keep us all happy. So his retirement will leave a void here, but we are excited for him as he starts this next journey in his life.
Thank you. Any comments or motion to approve?
I'd like to wish Lonnie all the happiness going forward. He was a good guy to work with, and I appreciate all of his efforts. I would like to make a motion that we accept his retirement.
This is Dick. I'll second.
Karen,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Annette.
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is to effect semi-monthly disbursements. In other words, we need a motion to pay the bill.
Mr. Jim, I'll make a motion. We pay the bills.
This is Karen. I'll second the motion.
Jim,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
That's the last item on the agenda, and it's time for comments from BPA and staff. And we will start this evening with Mayor Slade.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Wanted to
Hello.
make you knew that council did approve the appropriations and transfers for those items that you had passed in your previous meeting. I know you were kind of waiting on us, so I appreciate your patience.
Thank you. Lori, anything?
I would just like to wish Lonnie well in his retirement and say congratulations to KB. They're two great guys.
Rhonda?
Nothing else tonight. Thank you, sir.
Jackie?
Yes, with Lonnie's retirement, that leaves an opening for the warehouse position, and I am requesting permission to start the recruitment process and post for that position, both internally and externally, please.
So we're looking for a motion to post that position. So
Correct.
This is Dick. So moved.
This is Jim, I'll second.
Dick,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Tom,
yes.
Karen,
Muted.
Thought I had pushed the button. Yes. Okay.
Annette.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Any department heads that would like to say anything at this time?
Yeah, this is Al Sullivan. I just wanted to thank Lonnie for all of his years of service. He's been a pleasure to work with. Always happy, always a go-getter. He'll be greatly missed in our department. And I would like to wish KB the best too with his new position. It's a good choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Nate?
Derek, did you want to go ahead? I see your mic's on.
Yeah, I just wanted to update the board on the North Industrial Park farm lease. We received 7 bids for that lease. We did award that to Neil McGill at a price of $225 per acre.
Okay, good.
That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Nate, anything else?
I do. I got a couple things. I just wanted to put this out there as a reminder that the 48-hour disconnect notice expired March 31st. It's now back to the 24 hours. This was the temporary modification to our rules and regs that the BPA passed during the pandemic. So that expired the 31st, now back to 24 hours. I'd also just like to say that our solar had the best March ever, 287,450 kWs. I'm glad to see the sun again. That's got to mean something, right? After 10 years, we get our highest March of sunshine. So I just thought I would fill you in on that. And also, which is strange, since the Always Hydro did very well last month with 1,360,227 kilowatt hours with the rain. Which is odd because we didn't get a lot of rain here, but we did down south. So just wanted to pass that along to everyone. And I also want to wish Lonnie all the best and thank him for his service. And congratulations to Chris Price. He's going to be a great addition to our team. And that's all I had, Tom.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Lonnie on his retirement. As I remember him, yeah, he's always the hard worker, had a good attitude. He always did a good job. I mean, he ordering things and taking care of the warehouse. That was important for the utility. And I'd like to congratulate KB on his move up. I'm sure he'll do a great job.
Karen?
Yes, I want to, again, wish Lonnie all the best and congratulate KB and all his efforts and look forward to seeing what he can do for us. And I want to also say that it was good to see all the information that came from the committee meetings. It's good to see what everybody's working on. It looks like a lot of good work on the schedule that has been completed and is still coming up to be done. Very good to see that things are carrying on and we weren't distracted from last year. So good job to everybody.
Thank you, Karen. Dick?
Yes, I again would like to wish Lonnie nothing but the best. He's been a good employee. He's well respected by his peers, also, just like KB. I wish him the best in his retirement. And KB, congratulations on his promotion. He'll do well. He'll succeed. With that, I guess I have two questions, one for the mayor and one for the board. Mayor, how are we doing with the COVID?
As a community and a county,
Yes, ma'am.
we're actually doing very well. We are still orange, which is great for us. It has upticked throughout the state, and we are still the only county in our area that will remain orange this week. But again, we have to continue to mask and be diligent. I'll also share with you that before this meeting, our 17-year-old daughter asked to get her COVID vaccine. So she got her first Pfizer shot today. I know.
Oh, that's good. Good for her.
And there are a lot of kids her age that are really promoting that, which is great. We seem to be losing a little of the passion to get vaccinated between, I would guess, the 25 to 45 range of people age-wise. We've done really good with our elderly population. There are a lot of those age groups that we have actually this week hit 70% on the vaccine schedule, which is great. So I would encourage anyone that wants to get vaccinated to contact the health department. The shots are also available in your local pharmacies. I know Walmart was giving them out this week as well. And again, that is a personal choice, not a forceful conversation from the mayor. But as far as a community, we have a lot to be proud of. The COVID defense team throughout the county has done really good work messaging on that, along with partnering with the health department.
And I know, if I may, Mayor, the clinic right across from the old Lester's, my daughter-in-law works there, and they have extra vaccine, and they're looking for people to give the shot to. So if you know of anybody that needs one, send them up there.
Yep, and they've been doing a really great job there at Community Health Partners as well.
Well, they talked this coward into going in and get his up there, and they did really well. It's a good place. Okay, thanks, Mayor. I just had a question for the board, something that we probably should have talked about and we didn't. Committee meetings, how everyone feels about maybe going back to real meetings or some sort of a hybrid meeting like council does.
Well, Dick, that was part of what I was going to bring up this evening, so I'm glad you brought it up. I was up in my part of the comments, but
Okay.
I did watch the city council meeting last night to see how you were set up, and did that work for you, Carrie?
Yes, it worked very well. And I know inside, we couldn't see on the TV some of it, but KB did an excellent job of making sure everyone in the room was on camera, and I was really appreciative of that. We did have most of our department heads chime in virtually. Lori does, for minute purposes, like to join us in the room, but we had plenty of space. We moved people around to desks and not necessarily just the council riser piece, and it seems to work out really well. And I have to be very honest, they were very excited to be back in the room legislating for the city together. It's been a long time, and some of those connections are missed virtually.
Yes.
And I was going to mention, when you come down, the board members, when they come down to the office tonight to sign the 3 papers we have to sign, Sylvia has set up this room, our conference room or meeting room, with how it could be set up if we came back to in-person meetings with the right distance. And we can get our 5 board members at our semicircular table, because we've added to that table. We can get a total of 12 people in here. And we usually only have 9 to 10. So in the round to one to stay in their office, that would be fine too. But take a look at that when you come in tonight, and then we'll talk between now and the next meeting, and maybe we can come up with some direction, if that's okay with you. Anybody else chime in?
I was just curious to how everyone felt. I mean, I'm okay with it, but I got to respect, some people are not comfortable with it, and I respect that. I was just curious how everyone felt.
Anybody else want to answer Dick's question?
I'm fine with it. I mean, was exposed a little bit to some extent in the committee meetings, and I'm only speaking for myself here, but yes, I'd be comfortable set up the way that it was set up for the committee meetings.
So
I'd be excited to be back in person, yes.
okay.
It's just so much, I don't know about you at all, but it's so much easier to communicate, face to face, as virtual. It's just not the same. But I know we have to do what we have to do, so.
Well, I agree, it's not the same.
And I'll also let you know that the governor did lessen the restrictions on government meetings, so we're well within the guidelines from the state office to meet in person again.
Okay,
And
good.
I would add that, like the city council, that if we do go back to in-person meetings, that we will keep our distance and we will wear a mask.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that.
We'll do all the right things, believe me.
I think, anything else from you, Dick?
No, sir, I'm done. Thank you.
Annette?
I would just like to congratulate KB on his promotion, and then also congratulations to Lonnie on his retirement. Enjoy.
Thank you. I'll ditto that. Congrats to Chris Bryce in his new position, and best of wishes to Lonnie Wheeler, and thank you for your service to BMU. I have nothing else. This time, I guess we can ask for a motion to adjourn.
This is Dick, so moved.
This is Jim, I'll second.
Dick,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Annette.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night, everyone. Enjoy the sunshine while it's still out.
Yeah.